Man, was that ever demoralizing! So the last video on this channel was the Detroit Red Wings and New York Rangers post-game video. If you had seen that, you would have known that I had both games on my dual monitor setup over here. I was watching the Habs game, watching the Wings game, and while the Wings game ended earlier, I was watching the Montreal Canadiens blow any chance they had at winning their game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. What a way to finish things off. In a game where for 40 minutes, the Habs actually looked like they had a good chance at winning. A game where they had chances. A game where they had momentum. A game where at some point in the second period, they actually had the 3-2 lead. But then a game where they ultimately fell short, and they ultimately blew it. The Montreal Canadiens lost 6-3 to the Pittsburgh Penguins here today, and I'm going to say that it was maybe about 3-4 minutes in the third period that really lost the Canadiens this game. They were in it for most of the first 40 minutes. It was 3-3 at the start of the third, but with 2 goals in 4 minutes at the halfway mark of the final frame, Kevin Hayes and Kris Letang each getting on the board. That is ultimately what sealed the deal here for Montreal and did not give them a fighting chance at coming back. However, there still were some really good things to talk about in this game, and I wanted to dive into them here. So, firstly, I wanted to say that the game itself was broadcasted on Amazon Prime. Not Logan Paul KSI Hawk Tua Podcast Prime. No, we're talking about the Amazon Prime service, and some people were kind of, okay, like what the hell, why are they diversifying it like this? Why are you making it more difficult for us to watch the game? But after watching the game on Prime, dude, am I the only one that actually thought they did a really good broadcast? I mean, the scoreboard looked really cool. The camera quality was a little bit better, I'd say, than what we're used to. And even the commentary. It was not Toronto biased. That was honestly like one of the best parts, just listening to the guys riffing off each other and talking about the game, giving an even, unbiased perspective as to what was going on. It's totally a different ball game here. And I actually might be looking forward to more Monday night NHL Montreal on Prime games as the season goes on. I don't know about you, I thought it was great. Sure, the accessibility might be a question mark as to whether or not it's really possible for the NHL to sustain itself on Amazon Prime, but either way, the game broadcast itself was awesome. But you know what wasn't awesome for this game in Montreal? The opening few minutes. Because the Penguins ended up going up by 2 early in this game. You had Lars Eller, of course, former Montreal Canadien, starting things out with a beautiful shot on the rush set up by Jesse Puljujärvi. Nice to see Puljujärvi getting back on his feet. He had a really bad hit on EMIL HEINEMAN in this game, but other than that, he did do some pretty good work setting up the first Lars Eller goal. Rickard Rakell then made it 2-0 a few minutes after that. This one was the Penguins cycling it around in the offensive zone. Malkin out in front for Rakell is a really great quick play from behind the net, and Rakell by himself in the slot is able to bury it and make it 2-0. The Habs had a response, though, and it comes in the form of Kaiden Guhle, who ends up hammering one on a beautiful pass from Mike Matheson to make it 2-1. This is with 2 minutes to go in the first period. Matheson has the puck at the top of the umbrella. He's faking the shot, and then he quickly sends it over to Guhle, who one-time slap shots it in. That's the classic NHL 25 one-timer D-to-D that goes in here, and Kaiden Guhle brings the Habs on the board. Matheson and Suzuki each getting the assists. They've been cooking so far this season, so it's nice to see them getting on the board once more. The Habs then score the next 2 goals of the game to take a 3-2 lead. Firstly, it is Juraj Slafkovský getting on the board with his first goal of the season. It's on the power play, assisted by, once again, Nick Suzuki and Mike Matheson. Matheson over to Suzuki on the right side. He's got a lane. He walks in, and instead of firing the shot up high, he sends it low and to the back door, right onto the tape. Juraj Slafkovský's there. He puts it in. Tie game, 2-2. Give it a few minutes, and you have the Canadiens ending up making it 3-2 because of none other than EMIL HEINEMAN. He had scored his first NHL goal in the Ottawa game a few nights ago. That was the game winner, and in this game, he ends up getting a beautiful unassisted goal where he steals the puck from one Jesse Puljujärvi in the Canadian zone, dashes down the left wing. He's got a guy on the right side. He instead decides to shoot it himself, goes far side on Jarry, beats the goalie, and makes it 3-2. Just take a look at the confidence that EMIL HEINEMAN is playing with now. A guy who was honestly kind of a throw-in in some of the other trades that he was a part of, initially taken by Florida, sent over to Calgary in the Sam Bennett trade, and then sent over to Montreal in the Tyler Toffoli trade. He has been added in trades over and over again, and now he's finally here in the NHL, and he's got 2 goals to open up the season. What a great play, what confidence to score on the rush instead of deferring to his teammate that was down the right wing there in Oliver Kapanen. But he makes it 3-2, and that's kind of when the good times end here for the Montreal Canadiens, because while it's true, they did have some opportunities to continue piling on the offense, and they did have some scoring chances that were there, the Pittsburgh Penguins decide to take things into their own hands, because towards the end of the third period, you have Lars Eller, of course, it had to be Lars Eller, scoring himself his second of the game. He takes the puck in the Penguin zone, and just decides to go right down. He's got Juraj Slafkovsky as his check. Mike Matheson pinched up, so Slafkovsky's covering up on D. Eller goes right into the Habs zone and just shoots it. Slafkovsky tries to angle him off in a weird way, but he's not a defenseman, so he doesn't know how to do it properly. Matheson was behind on the play, so Lars Eller, acknowledging that he's got a forward playing defense, he just walks right in, shoots, and it's a beautiful snipe. It goes up high on Sammy Montembeault, and it's 3-3. The third period comes, and this is where the Canadiens really fall apart. Kevin Hayes gets a goal 7 minutes in. Nice play there. Erik Karlsson, Noel Acciari get the assists. The Canadiens, they end up losing it on a really bad breakout attempt by David Savard. He just chugs it along the boards and is easily picked off there by Erik Karlsson. Really not a great play, especially one that you would expect out of a veteran player like Savard. Kris Letang, just 4 minutes later, ended up making 5-3 on a pretty nasty rush. Matt Gritslick has the puck on a 3-on-1. He ends up on the left boards, centers it out in front for Malkin. Malkin one-touch passes it into the middle for Kris Letang, who fires it by Montembeault. 5-3. And then Malkin on the empty net made it 6-3. The Habs completely fell apart in this one after they did have a stable amount of control and effort. Although there were some other good things that I think existed in this game too. Lane Hutson was absolutely fantastic. I mean, look, just how many things can we go out there and say about this guy? There was a shift towards the end of the second period where he dangled right in between 2 Pittsburgh Penguins forecheckers and really put the puck on a good spot for a centering opportunity. He has been doing things like that all year long, and this game was no different. This might have been, like, maybe the most confident we have seen him. Who knows, man? I mean, getting gassed up by Sidney Crosby and Erik Karlsson and Evgeni Malkin must do something for a guy's confidence, right? Also, it was good to see some of the other goals going in here. Obviously, you want to see Juraj Slafkovsky getting his first, Cayden Guhle getting some goal support. Some of the older guys, though, definitely not the best. David Savard, that turnover was really bad. At the end of the day, though, just like as we had said in the Red Wings-Rangers video, it's game, what, out of 82. Lots more hockey to go here, and if it's filled with exciting action like we had seen today against the Penguins, I think we're going to be pretty okay. So, Montreal Canadiens fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Habs versus the Penguins. What are your thoughts on EMIL HEINEMAN's hot start to the year? What are your thoughts on the game as a whole? Who stood out to you in a good way? Who stood out in a bad way? I'm going to say bad way standing out to me, other than David Savard. I didn't really think that Kirby Dach had a great game, honestly. He was on the first power play, and I did not find myself wowed by a lot of his decisions with the puck. Not necessarily the best game out of him, in my opinion. What were your thoughts on some of the other guys here? Gallagher, I thought, played pretty strongly. Maybe I'm just looking out for him more because I have him in fantasy and I want him to get shots and hits. He did that very successfully, so I'm happy with that. Mike Matheson had a strong game. Good to see him bounce back after a few games of not really doing much. And then Cayden Guhle, of course, with the goal is always nice to see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you're a Habs fan or a Penguins fan. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.